Affinity Photo comes with a great option for recording states. It's great for creating different designs for different people. So what you can do in a very basic setup, I'm just going to create a circle, a blue circle, and I'm just going to create a rectangle and maybe a different colour. So let's just change that, make it that colour. And also I'm going to add some text. So there's some text and I'm going to go with the word jumper. And you can see I've got jumper there. And with that, you can see over here, 3 layers. Now I can select all of those, select them all, right click, and I can go down to group. I just want to group them for ease. Now, what I can also do is I can now duplicate that. So right click and duplicate. Now this other group, I'm just going to go and select this one. I can change the colours. So instead of that one, I can change it to maybe black, and also rectangle, I can change it to a different colour as well. Let's just change it to maybe an orange, and this one I'm going to change to brown. Now because it's on top, you won't see any change. But let's go and quickly remove the visibility. So for this one, the blue one, so now you can see you've got this. So if I just bring that all back again, I can go backwards and forwards. So deselect that one and I can put that one back and so on. Well, of course, this is basically all you're doing with states. It's just the visibility as well as effects. That's all that's recorded. So let's just go and now save a state. So where is it? States. You can find it in the window menu and down here to states. So states. Now there's a number of options here. Down the bottom, you've got scope. I'm just going with document, but you can do it spread and also selection. So a variety of different things if you want to do it that way. Also, go up here, you can close, but also you've got the plus just down here, and that records the state. So at the moment, visibility being recorded will be recording this. So I've got the blue is visible, the brown one is not. So click plus, and it'll come up with this. And I'm going to go with blue. So I'm just going to call it blue. Click OK. So that's recorded. And you see here, it says 8 layers. So it actually sees everything. Not just what you see on the screen. It's got everything stored away. And now, if I go here and I deselect this one, and then click this one. Now, I haven't recorded this state yet. So what I need to do is, again, just go down here and go to plus. And I'm going to call that one orange. Now, unfortunately, not everything is recorded. There's certain things that are recorded, certain things are not. Slightly odd the way it does it. Visibility is obviously a key one, but also effects are recorded. So now I've got my states. What I can now do is I can go up here and I decide, you know what, I want the blue one. So just go on to the blue one. I don't have to say, I can just simply click it here. So click apply. So apply, and you can see now this brown group is not visible. The blue one is visible. If I decide, you know what, the orange one, let's just click on that one, and now that one. So you can bounce back and forth between them. Now you can also update them as well. I'm just going to show you how to do that later. But also, if you decide, you know what, I don't want a particular state, you can always select it. So with that selected here, you can see it selected there. You can always delete it. There's just a delete down there. There's also another option, add new smart state. That's a slightly more complex state, but still very useful as well. But it gives you more options than the very basic level state there, the plus. It should be noted that it doesn't record colour nor position. So if you go over here and you've got your group and you decide, you know what, let's just reposition these. So I'm just going to select this one, this rectangle, and I can position it here. And maybe this ellipse, and I can move it over here. And also I can change the text. So let's just go for something else, not jumper, but I decide to go for cardigan. Or maybe the different font. So, did I spell that right? Anyway, once you've got that, you got that. Now, if I go to this group, obviously I can then just close that again, and I can go here again, just to this blue, and I can then just apply it. Now it doesn't record the position or any of the changes. So if I just click apply, nothing changes. Doesn't record the fonts, doesn't record the colour, all those sort of things. Nothing is recorded there. But if I go here to orange, so I can just click that one, so that becomes back. Now, the layer positions and everything are all restored just as they were for that one. But if again I go to the blue one, let's just again click that one, you can see it's just put back there. It doesn't store away the information. You can just click here and try and store it. You can update it. And if you go back to it, say you move one of these positions again, let's just select something. You can move it around, reposition it, put this here. And again, if you go here and try it and click apply, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't restore the position or the colour, etc. So that is a key thing to remember. But however, it does store effects. You can also use states with various effects. Layer styles. So rectangle tool, I'm just creating a rectangle. It could be any shape, it could be any type of layer. I'm just creating a rectangle. With that, I can go here to layers. And down the bottom, you've got little effects. So click there and you can bring up, say, 3D. So let's 3D, let's just change that. And also maybe outer shadow. So we just add an outer shadow and close. Well, once you've done that, you can go here to the states and exactly the same as before. You can go down here to click the plus. So add new state. And I'm just going to call this 3D shadow and click OK. So you can see that there. Well, what I can also do now is go back here to this rectangle. I can click effects. So click there again. And this time I can actually add a colour. So you can change the colour. So colour overlay, I'm just going to go for, say, blue. So blue design. And of course, the design can be much more complicated than this. You can have lots of different layers. I'm just using one layer, for example, in this. And also go here to 3D and I can maybe decide, you know what, I want a different profile. Also, I can change various other settings, maybe the direction, something like that. And then close. Well, with this one, go again to the states and I can go down here to the plus and I can just click here. So add new state. And this time, just going to go for profile. Just call it something and click OK. If I want to restore the state, say to the first one, all I need to do is go to the states panel, just go here and then click. Straight away, you've got this layer effect applied again. Again, I can go to this one and click this one. And again, it's restored to that one. And you can see here, you've got here the rectangle and I can always again go to effects. So I'm just click here and I maybe decide, you know what, I don't want blue for that state. I want green. So let's just change it to green. And I can go like that, maybe, or yellow, and click close. With that, I can always go here, make certain I've got this one selected. So this one selected, I can just update it. So just go here and click, just this little update. So if I click this one now, restore it, and then click this one, you can see now I've got this new layer effect. You can also use states with filter effects. Now, if you go to filters and just use these, you can't. But what you can do, you've got live filter layers. So I've got this image. What I can do then, I can go over here, layer, and down here to new adjustment layer or new live filter layer. So you can also use these as well. So new filter layer and blur and Gaussian blur. You could use any of them. I'm just happen to be using Gaussian blur for the example. So Gaussian blur. And with that, I can set it, say, to, I don't know, 20 or so. So you've got a bit of a blur effect there. And you can now see that there. But also what I can do, I can actually go and add another one. So layer. Now I could go down here, live, and again, blur, Gaussian blur. Could add 2 or 3 or 5. So you could have different blurs to demonstrate. So you could show a subtle blur or a really extreme blur. But this time I'm just going to go for, say, spherical. So a spherical effect. So intensity and radius. And you can see I can modify that and push that maybe to the extreme. Well, with that, I can then close that. And you can see again, you've got sphere. Now, it's not connected to this background layer. It doesn't have to be. But you can just simply drag this down and make certain that's selected. And now it's part of the same thing. Well, what you can do, You got here states. So at this point, say I don't want the sphere effect. Well, I can deselect that. And now I can go over here with this background. I can go here to states and I can add a state. So click plus, and this one I'm going to call blur. So blur and click OK. But what I can also do is I can go here, and again, this is the key thing, the visibility. So I can now deselect this blur and bring the sphere back. So you've got the sphere. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't record the actual filter effect information. So if you've got this effect applied at a particular point, or a blur applied at a particular point, that's all it stores. If you change it, it just, again, makes no difference. It's just the actual filter effect here. So again, I can now go here to states and again, click plus. And this time I'm going to call it sphere. And click OK. Now the one trouble with this seems to be a slight, I don't know if it's a bug or a particular way they've designed it, that if you add another one now, say you add another filter effect here, it doesn't seem to actually reflect it when you use the update. It just seems to ignore it. I do not know why, but that seems to be the way it works. So you've got these now applied here. And I can now go over here, say I want the blur back again. I can simply go to this point and click here. So blur, and now you've got the blur effect. The sphere is, of course, not visible. Click here for the sphere and click there. And now the blur's gone and you've got the sphere. And obviously you've just still got this single background layer. You can also use adjustments with states as well. So you can see I've got my background here, and I can go to layer, and I can go down here to new adjustment layer, and I've got a variety of different ones. So maybe black and white. So black and white, select that, and obviously I can then set the red, yellow, all tweak, all kinds of ways. Close that, and you can see now you've got background applied above. Now I like to associate it with the layer, so I'm just going to drag this down, and there it is. And you can see if you expand that out, you've now got the background adjustment. Now again, the same issue. If you record the state, you can't add something later. It seems to not work. I do not know why, but it does not seem to work. So now I'm going to add another adjustment. So layer, new adjustment layer. So it does require a little bit of pre-setup for this. And say HSL. So HSL. And then you can modify the color. Now, obviously I've got black and white there, so I can't see what it is, but I've just changed it subtly, changed the saturation and so on. And you can see now I've got that associated there. Now, if I go up here and the background, deselect that, you can see I've got a purple design. And also I can add another one. So let's just go for, again, layer and new adjustment layer, and maybe go for, say, exposure. Let's just push it to extreme. So fairly extreme exposure. And you can see now I've got that there. Okay, so you've got all those set. Now, at any point, it means you can demonstrate different effects by using states. Now, of course, this is a very basic model, but you could set up maybe 20 or 30 layers with different associations, different adjustments, and then you could click on them and display different displays, different designs to maybe a customer. So with this, now I can simply go down again to the states, but I don't want the exposure and I don't want the HSL shift. I just want black and white. So in this case, I can just go here to states, click plus, and I can call it black and white, or just black for quick. Okay, you can see it's got 4 layers. You can see the 4 layers there. Now I can again go here, and instead of that one, the black and white, I can go for HSL, so purple. Well, again, exactly the same. Click the plus, and I can go purple. And click OK. And again, I can go to the next one. So let's just go for this one and deselect that one and click this on. So the only one that's on now, exposure. And again, I can go down here to the plus and click and set exposure. And click OK. So now, if I want to demonstrate a particular layer setup, I can just go here and make certain you click this, not this. In many ways, I wish that was not so close to that one. I quite often click that by accident. So it is quite slightly frustrating that the update is right next door to the apply. Slightly odd. be aware of that when you click it. Otherwise it will just store it and there's no, it seems, any way to undo that. So this time I want black. So just click here to apply and now you've got the black. If I want the purple, I can click there, I've got purple. If I want exposure, I've got that. Now, for some weird reason, I've got the HSL kicking in as well, which is slightly odd because here it doesn't appear to actually be set. However, it seems to be doing that as well. Maybe another issue perhaps. But you can see it's not actually selected there, not selected, so it shouldn't actually be applying that purple either. Unless, of course, exposure adjustment does actually apply that. Let's just drag it up just to see. Yeah, clearly that is what it is. The exposure adjustment does actually make it look more purple. That's just a coincidence that it looked purple with the other one as well. Anyway, so now you can see all you can do is, now once you actually move this is another thing to be aware. So if I now apply, it goes slightly odd. So if you adjust things, it's still got the exposure up there, but of course it does still change the visibility. It doesn't move that back to here. So it doesn't remember the structure, the layout. So if you change things, tweak things, whatever, it does not work. It only works purely on the visibility and the actual effect, obviously layer effect. That's all that's stored. If you want to delete any of the states, and you'll notice I've got no layers at all, so these are completely wrong now. What I can do, simply go here, select, and just down here, and delete state. Unfortunately, there is no delete all. That would be really nice if there's a delete all. You might have 30 or 40 states, and obviously you have to go through and delete each and every one. You can also update the states within limits. If you add multiple new layers, it does seem to get a bit confused. But if you keep the same number of layers, it seems to work okay. So now I've got this rectangle, I've got background. So let's go for a basic first state. I'm just going to go with this one. Everything's visible, so rectangle. Click OK. Well, I can also go here and maybe have one, no rectangle. And again, I can then go down here again, click the plus, no rec. And OK. Well, what I can do, maybe I think, you know what? I want to add layer effects to this one, the no rec. And I also want it to be visible. So how do I do that? Well, I can go to that one, so you can see it's selected there. I can now go over here and I can say, oh, just put that back to visible again. Now it's not stored at this point. So if I click again to apply it, it will still go back to what it is stored as. And also I can go to the rectangle and I can click down here, effects. And I can go here to say 3D and just increase that, maybe go there and add a shadow. Of course, you could add any number of effects and there's multiple additional ones you can add as well. Click close. And again, I can go to the states, but make sure you don't click apply. Don't want to do that. What I want to do is update it. So click that. Now, personally, I wish that was not, I wish it was there as in a menu, make it much more easy. It's so easy to click that by accident, as well as clicking that by accident. So now what you can do, so if I want this one back again, this rec, I can just click here and you can see now the effect is still displayed, but there's no layer effect. You can see there, no layer effect. But if I go to this one, click that, and you can see now, instead of being not visible, it is visible, and also it's got a layer effect of the 3D, etc. And you can, of course, go here, and you can see visibility changes, effects changes. You can change it. You decide, you know what, I don't want the effects changes to be stored. You can tweak that as well. Now, unfortunately, there appears to be no way of renaming it. I haven't found a way of renaming it anyway. Nope, just close. Doesn't seem to be a way of saying. So if you create something that said no rec, even though it makes no sense, that's unfortunately the name it's got. Nor is there any duplication option either. In Affinity Photo, you can also use the states to record masks. So I've just done this before. I've got 3 layers, and please check out the videos on how to do this. I'm going to turn this into a mask. But first, before I do that, I'm going to apply effect to it. Just a very basic effect. So filters, go down here to colors, and I'm going to go with halftone. And you can see the halftone effect there. Slight error, I think, there. But however, monochrome, and click apply. Now what I can do, I can go to layer and I can go down here to rasterize to mask. So rasterize to mask, so it's turned into a mask. You can see the masking effect there. I can drag this down now onto this layer. So there, it's associated with this background here. Now the background's there just because I want to combine them, but still what I can now do is I can duplicate this mask. I can just go right click and duplicate. Now at this point you actually can't see anything, so you might like just to go up here to the background. So this is the top level, and you can click here, effects. So click effects and maybe go for 3D. So straight away you can see you've got your mask effect. So you get this lovely 3D, bit of depth, texture effect. And close. Well, this one, this background here, this is obviously still a mask as well. But what I want to do is apply a filter effect to it. So filter and distort it. So make certain the move tools there, filters, distort and deform. And I'm just going to distort it. So let's just distort it just subtly. And you can see as I distort it like that, you can see the result. Now, not perfect, but I'm just doing this quickly. And you can see, and you could of course apply any other filter effect. Don't have to be applying just half tones or whatever. Apply multiple different effects. So you can see you've got a different texture here now. So click apply. So with this, now I can record all this. Now, if I decide to add more masks, this doesn't, unfortunately, this fails. For some weird reason, the state seems to sort of not record that information particularly well. So you need to set this up first. Okay, so you've got all these. And of course, another thing to note, if you then distort it this even more and change this and tweak this, it doesn't record this. It will just use what it is at that point. Okay, so now I can record the state. So I don't want this one. So click that, and that one is turned off. And you can see the deform effect. So I'm just going to go here to the states, and I can click plus, and I can call it deform. Click OK. Now I can go to this one, deselect that, and click there, and I've got obviously the very basic halftone. So again, I can record halftone and click OK. Also, of course, you might say, well, I don't really want that at all. I don't want the masks. So you can click that one and you can just say plus no mask. Click OK. So you've got 3 of these. But also what you can do is you can go up here to the background and you've got effects. And the effects, the layer styles, are also stored. They're the only things that are stored along with visibility. So double click and you can turn around and say, well, actually, that 3D effect, I don't want just that. I want to click here, the profiles, and I'm just going to go for a different profile. Now, at the moment, you can't see it, so just close. But if I bring it back in again, one of these ones, so say this one, you can then see you've got that. Or maybe go for this one. You can see, I can change it again. Maybe go double click again, bring that up, 3D, maybe change the direction as well. That's another option. So again, I've got this, I've got effects changed. I can store that. So this time I'm just going to go here, plus, and I'm just going to say effect 1. Click OK. So they're all recorded. Now again, make certain you don't click this. Again, it's slightly frustrating. It's right next door to the apply, so it's very easy to click that. In fact, it's more instinctive to click the first one than the other one. I think it should be over here, tucked away in this menu. But hell, let's go for this. I can go for deform. So click that. And you can see now the deform effect. Click that for the halftone effect. Click that for no effect at all. And click that for a slightly different design. Now, you can see what happens. This has been recorded. The deform hasn't. So effect 1 is that one. And of course I could decide, you know what? Oh, I want to have that one as well. So deselect that, select that. You've got that. And I can go down here and add another state for that as well. Perfectly reasonable. But you can see you can run through a variety of different designs very quickly, demonstrate different ideas to obviously whoever you want to show this design to, or maybe for creating different website designs, whatever. You can also use states with text. So I've got here some text. The answer is, and of course you could set maybe for slides or something, maybe PowerPoint or something. You want to create different text designs for that. So I've got here, the answer is blue. and the answer is red. Now I want them on top of each other, but you can see they're multiple layers, and I can simply drag this up here. With that, I can then go to the states, and I can go, I don't want the red to be shown. So the answer is blue. So here, I can go here to the plus. And again, the key thing is position is not stored or scale, which is a pity. I wish it was, but it's not. Unfortunately, it's purely the visibility and the layer effect. Of course, you can get around that by using layer effects with a color overlay. That's a possibility. Okay, so what you can do is now I'm going to go with the answer is blue. So blue, click OK. And I can click this one, red one, and make sure that's not visible. And I've got red there now. And again, I can just go down here and the answer is red. And I'm just going to say the state is red as well. And simply to bring up one answer, I can just again remember to click this little play, blue, or I can click here for red. So you can see you can create a variety of different designs. Unfortunately, it doesn't record the font. So if you change the font, all these sort of things. So if I just go here now and select, you know what, instead of Arial, I don't want Arial, I want something else, Nile or Aperture, say that. If I go here and again click blue or red, it doesn't record the font, which is a pity. It would be nice if it recorded that as well. Unfortunately, the state only records visibility changes and effect changes. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Always great to hear from you. Also, a like or dislike, always appreciated. Always creating new videos all the time about Affinity Photo, as well as Designer and other applications as well, such as Photoshop. Bye.